Kemi Adeyemi woke up at 3 a.m. to someone pounding on her apartment door. She stumbled off the couch, head pounding from too much Moscato, her ex-boyfriend's engagement photo still glowing on her phone screen. Through the peephole, she saw him, a tall Korean man in an expensive black suit, holding a gun. "Miss Adeyemi," his accented voice called through the door. "I'm here about your order. We need to talk." Her blood turned to ice. "I'm An Tai Yang, your contractor. And we need to discuss payment. And who's actually going to die. Welcome to Afro-Korean Stories Saga, my loves. Please like, share, and subscribe, because Kemi just learned that drunk online shopping has consequences. The worst decision of Kemi Adeyemi's life started with 3 glasses of wine and her piece of shit ex-boyfriend's engagement announcement on Instagram. She stared at her phone screen, Carter and his new fiancée on a yacht in the Maldives, her hand prominently displayed with a ring that probably cost more than Kemi's annual salary. The caption read, "She said yes to forever with my soulmate." Kemi had dated Carter for 4 years. 4 years of, "I'm not ready for marriage yet, and let's focus on our careers first." She'd supported him through business school, edited his resume, networked to get him his first job. He'd dumped her 6 months ago via text. "I need to find myself." Apparently himself was a 23-year-old Instagram model named Sienna. "I hope his yacht sinks," Kemi muttered, pouring herself another glass of Moscato. Her best friend Jade sprawled across the couch in Kemi's cramped Atlanta apartment, eating popcorn. "That's too kind. I hope he gets eaten by a shark, a small one, so it takes a while." "I hope Sienna finds out he can't actually satisfy a woman and has been faking business trips to see his secret therapist about his intimacy issues." "Ooh, specific. I like it." Jade scrolled through her own phone. "Want me to leave a comment? I can make a burner account." "Don't. I'm not giving him the satisfaction of knowing I care." Kemi downed half the glass. The wine was cheap and too sweet, but it was doing its job. "I'm a successful marketing director at a Fortune 500 company. I own my car outright. I have great friends. I don't need that mediocre man to validate me." "Preach. I'm thriving. Absolutely thriving. I hope he chokes." Jade laughed. "There it is." Kemi opened her laptop with the aggressive energy of someone about to make a bad choice. "You know what? I'm ordering something online. Retail therapy? I'm buying something completely irresponsible." "Please say shoes." "Better." Kemi's wine-soaked brain had already bypassed Amazon and was typing into Google. "I'm going to the dark web." Jade sat up. "Kemi, no." "Kemi, yes." She pulled up the Tor browser she'd downloaded once for a cybersecurity webinar and never used. "I want to see it. Everyone talks about how crazy it is. I deserve to treat myself to some forbidden internet browsing." "Girl, you're drunk." "I'm exactly drunk enough for this." The browser loaded, slow and ominous. Kemi navigated through forums and links with the confidence of someone who had no idea what she was doing. "Oh my God, you can buy anything on here. Fake passports, drugs, hacked Netflix accounts. Wait, I should write that down." "Kemi, close the laptop." "Look at this. There's a whole section for—" She stopped. Blinked. "Hitman!" Jade launched off the couch. "Close it." "No, wait, this is fascinating from a sociological perspective." Kemi scrolled through listings like she was browsing Etsy. "Look, they have ratings. Ratings. This one has 4.5 stars. Professional, discreet, made it look like an accident. Who leaves a review for a hitman?" "Someone who's about to get arrested by the FBI, that's who. Kemi, I love you, but you're about to end up on a watch list." Kemi ignored her, clicking through to a profile. "Oh, this one's fancy. International contracts accepted. Specializing in high-profile targets. No questions asked. Payment in cryptocurrency." The wine had fully hijacked her decision-making skills. Kemi found herself on a contact form, cursor blinking in the target information field. Jade read over her shoulder. Don't you dare. I'm not actually going to. But her fingers were already typing. Carter Williams. Location, Atlanta, GA. Reason, being a lying, mediocre man who wasted 4 years of my life. Kemi. It's not like it's real. This is probably all a scam anyway. The FBI running a sting operation or some teenager in Romania catfishing idiots. She scrolled down to the payment section. See, it's asking for Bitcoin. I don't even have Bitcoin. Can't complete the order. Then close the laptop and step away from the dark web. Kemi hovered over the submit button. The rational part of her brain, the part that color-coded her Google Calendar and meal prepped every Sunday, screamed at her to stop. The part that had spent 4 years being the cool girlfriend who didn't push for commitment hit submit. There, done. Nothing's going to happen because this is clearly fake, and now I can tell this story at parties. Kemi slammed the laptop shut. I just ordered a Hitman on my ex-boyfriend as a joke. That's my brand now, unhinged and thriving. Jade stared at her. You're insane. I'm healing. They finished the wine, watched trash TV. Jade left around midnight, still muttering about federal investigations. Kemi fell asleep on the couch, phone still displaying Carter's engagement photos. She woke up at 1 a.m. to someone knocking on her door. Not knocking, pounding. Kemi jolted upright, heart hammering. Her apartment building had security. No one should be able to get to her floor without being buzzed in. The pounding continued. Methodical, patient, terrifying. She grabbed her phone, no missed calls, no texts from the front desk. Atlanta PD, a skit male voice called through the door. Accented, not southern. Open the door, Miss Adeyemi. Oh, God. The dark web thing. The FBI had been monitoring it, and now she was going to be arrested for soliciting murder, and her mother was going to kill her before any hitman could. Kemi crept to the door, peered through the peephole. A man stood in the hallway. Tall, Korean, wearing a black suit that looked like it cost more than her rent. He wasn't holding a badge, he was holding a gun. Kemi's blood iced. The man smiled directly at the peephole like he knew she was looking. Miss Adeyemi, I'm here about your order. We should talk. I don't know what you're talking about. Her voice came out strangled. You submitted a contract 4 hours ago. Target, Carter Williams, Atlanta, Georgia. Reason, and I'm quoting here, being a lying, mediocre man who wasted 4 years of my life. He tilted his head. Colorful. I appreciate clients who are specific about motivation. Kemi's knees went weak. That was a joke. You used a dark web marketplace, filled out a contract form, and submitted a target's full legal name and location. That's a very committed joke, Miss Adeyemi. I was drunk. So was the man who ordered a hit on his business partner last month. I still completed the job. The man's voice was pleasant, conversational, like they were discussing the weather. Are you going to open the door, or do I let myself in? I'm trying to be professional about this. I'm calling the police. Please do. I'll wait. He didn't sound concerned. Though I should mention that your building's security cameras have been looped for the past 20 minutes. And the night guard is currently enjoying an extended bathroom break, courtesy of the laxatives in his coffee. No one knows I'm here. Kemi's hand shook on her phone. She could call 911, but would they arrive before he broke down the door? And what would she even say? Hi, I drunkenly ordered a hitman and now he's here. I'm not opening the door for a hitman. Technically, I'm a freelance problem solver. Hitman is so reductive, he sighed. Miss Adeyemi, I flew from Seoul to Atlanta based on your contract. The least you can do is have a conversation. I'm not here to hurt you. You have a gun. I have several guns. That's not the point. He lowered his voice. Here's the situation. You placed an order. I accepted it. The contract is binding. Now we need to discuss terms, payment, and timeline. This works better face to face. I'm not paying you to kill my ex-boyfriend. Then we have a problem. Because in my line of work, backing out of a contract has consequences. The way he said consequences made Kemi's stomach drop. She was going to die. She was going to be murdered in her own apartment because she'd drunk ordered a hitman like he was a pizza. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Check your phone," the man outside said. With shaking hands, Kemi opened the message. It was a photo of her, asleep on this very couch, taken from inside her apartment 30 minutes ago. "I've been here a while," the man said pleasantly. "Watching you sleep, making sure you were alone, running background checks. You're very cute when you snore, by the way." Kemi unlocked the door. She didn't have a choice. The man walked in like he owned the place. He was younger than his voice suggested, maybe early 30s. Sharp features, dark eyes that cataloged everything in 2 seconds. The gun disappeared into his jacket. He looked around her apartment, the wine bottles, the laptop, the Instagram still open on her phone, and smiled. "I'm An Tae Yang," he said. "Your contractor. We have a lot to discuss." Kemi's mouth was dry and she didn't know what to say, so she said the first and only stupid thing in her head. "I don't have Bitcoin." "I noticed. That's why I'm here in person." He settled onto her couch, perfectly at ease. "Let's talk about alternative payment arrangements." Kemi stood, frozen in her own living room, while a professional killer made himself comfortable on her second-hand IKEA couch. Tae-young crossed his legs, relaxed as if he'd been invited for tea. "Sit down, Miss Adeyemi. You're making me irritated." "I am making you irritated? You broke into my apartment." "I let myself in. There's a difference." He gestured to the armchair. "Please, sit." She sat, mostly because her legs were shaking too hard to keep standing. Up close, he was unfairly attractive. That was the first coherent thought Kemi's brain managed to produce. Sharp jawline, dark hair styled perfectly despite it being 1 a.m., a slight scar above his left eyebrow that somehow made him more compelling instead of dangerous. No, he was dangerous. He was a hitman. "I'm not paying you," Kemi said, "and I don't want anyone murdered." Tae-young ignored her words, then pulled out his phone. Carter Williams, age 31, MBA from Emory University. Currently employed as a senior analyst at Deloitte. Engaged, as of 8 hours ago, to Sienna Rodriguez, Instagram influencer with 47,000 followers. "How do you know all that?" "It's literally my job." He scrolled through whatever file he'd compiled. "You dated him for 4 years. He ended the relationship via text message 6 months ago. You've been handling it well. Therapy every Tuesday, avoided contact, focused on your career. Until tonight when his engagement announcement triggered a wine-drunk lapse in judgment." Kemi's face burned. "You've been stalking me." "Research. I don't accept contracts without vetting clients." He looked up. "You're not a dangerous person, Miss Adeyemi. You're hurt and angry and made an impulsive decision. I understand that." "Then you understand I can't go through with this." "Correction, I am not going through with this." "Of course you can't. You're a marketing director with a clean record and a 401k. You're not built for conspiracy to commit murder." He set his phone down. "But the contract exists. It was logged. Other people in my organization know about it. And if I don't fulfill it, there are complications." "What kind of complications?" "The kind where someone less professional than me gets assigned to clean up loose ends." "Starting with you." The room tilted. "You're saying if you don't kill my ex, someone will kill me?" "Not someone. Multiple someones. My employers don't tolerate incomplete contracts. It's bad for business." Tae-young's expression was apologetic. Genuine, even. "I'm sorry. This is an unfortunate situation for both of us." Kemi's brain raced. This couldn't be real. This had to be a prank. Jade had set this up. Any second, cameras would pop out and someone would yell, "Gotcha." But the gun in Taeyang's jacket was real. The fear in her chest was real. "What do I do?" she whispered. "You have two options." He held up one finger. Option 1. I complete the contract. Carter Williams dies. You pay me in installments. I'm flexible about payment plans. You live with the guilt, and we never speak again. No, absolutely not. I thought you'd say that. He held up a second finger. Option 2. You help me find an alternative target. Kemi blinked. What? The contract must be fulfilled. Someone must die, but it doesn't have to be Carter Williams. Taeyang leaned forward. Tell me, Miss Adeyemi, is there anyone in your life who actually deserves it? Someone dangerous? Someone who's hurt people and gotten away with it? You want me to pick someone else to murder? Think of it as redirecting justice. His eyes were dark, unreadable. Carter Williams is a mediocre man who broke your heart. That's not a capital offense, but surely you know someone worse. Someone the world would be better without. Kemi's mind went blank. I don't know any murderers. Are you sure? Think carefully. An abusive boss? A predatory landlord? That friend's ex who put her in the hospital? A stalker the police won't take seriously. He watched her face. Everyone knows. Someone who deserves consequences they'll never face. She wanted to say no, wanted to tell him to leave, call the police, deal with the consequences. But then she thought of Jade. Jade, who'd dated Marcus Thompson for 2 years. Marcus, who'd isolated her from friends, controlled her money, and put her in the ER with 3 broken ribs when she tried to leave. Marcus, who'd gotten a slap on the wrist restraining order that he violated regularly. Marcus, who the police couldn't do anything about without more evidence. Marcus, who Jade was still terrified of. There's someone, Kemi heard herself say. Taeyang's expression didn't change. Tell me. She told him about Marcus, about the hospital visits Jade explained away as clumsy accidents, about the messages he still sent, the threats, the photos he took outside Jade's new apartment, about the police reports that went nowhere. Taeyang listened in silence. Then he nodded. Marcus Thompson, I'll need his details. Wait, I'm not, actually. But she wasn't she? She was giving a hitman a new target, redirecting a murder she'd ordered as a drunken joke onto someone else. Miss Adeyemi. Taeyang's voice was gentle. You placed a contract. It must be fulfilled. The choice you have is whether it's fulfilled against someone who broke your heart or someone who breaks bones. Choose. Kemi's hands shook. This was insane. This was wrong. But Marcus had put Jade in the hospital, had terrorized her for months, and the legal system had done nothing. How much time do I have? She asked. 72 hours. I need his routine, his addresses, his vulnerabilities. Taeyang stood. I'll be in touch tomorrow. Get some sleep. Sleep? You think I can sleep after this? Probably not, but you should try. He headed for the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice. Carter Williams is an asshole, but he's not a monster. Marcus Thompson is. How do you know that? I already looked into him while you were deciding. The hospital records are public if you know where to look. So are the restraining order violations. Taeyang smiled, and for the first time it looked dangerous. I would have done this one for free. He left as silently as he'd arrived. Kemi sat in her apartment, alone, realizing she'd just conspired to commit murder. She should call the police. Turn herself in. Stop this before it was too late. Instead, she opened her laptop and started compiling everything she knew about Marcus Thompson. Kemi didn't sleep. By 6 a.m., she'd created a detailed file on Marcus Thompson. His work address, sales manager at a car dealership. His apartment, a high-rise in Buckhead. His routine, gym at 7 a.m., Starbucks after, lunch at Chipotle 3 times a week. His weaknesses, a gambling problem, a temper, a tendency to drive drunk. She stared at the document, stomach churning. This was evidence. Conspiracy. If anyone found this, she'd go to prison. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did you sleep? Kemi, what do you think? Unknown number. I'll take that as a no. Meet me for breakfast. I'll send the location. Kemi, I have to work. Unknown number. Call in sick. We have planning to do. Kemi wanted to refuse, wanted to block the number and pretend none of this was happening. But she thought of Jade, of the fear in her best friend's eyes every time her phone buzzed, of the way she checked over her shoulder in parking lots. She called in sick. The location Tae-young sent was a Korean restaurant in a strip mall, the kind of place that looked unassuming from outside but had a line out the door on weekends. At 8 a.m. on a Wednesday, it was nearly empty. Tae-young sat in a back booth wearing different clothes. Dark jeans, a black t-shirt, leather jacket. He looked less like a hitman and more like someone she might swipe right on. Kemi slid into the booth across from him, hyper-aware that she was meeting a professional killer for breakfast. You look terrible, he observed. Thanks, I was up all night contemplating murder. First time is always rough. He pushed a menu toward her. Order something, you'll feel better with food. I'm not hungry. You will be. The yukgaejang here is excellent. A waitress appeared, an older Korean woman who smiled at Tae-young like he was her favorite nephew. They spoke in rapid Korean. She patted his hand, glanced at Kemi with obvious approval, and disappeared toward the kitchen. What did you tell her? Kemi asked. That you're my girlfriend and you had a rough night at work. He smiled at Kemi's expression. Relax. Mrs. Kim loves playing matchmaker. This saves me from her trying to set me up with her daughter. I'm not your girlfriend. No, you're my client who's conspiring to commit murder. Much better dinner conversation. Despite everything, Kemi almost laughed. The absurdity was overwhelming. Food arrived. Steaming bowls of spicy beef soup, banchan side dishes, rice. The smell made Kemi's stomach growl despite her nerves. She ate. Tae-young was right. She did feel better. Did you bring the file? He asked. Kemi pulled out her phone, opened the document. Everything I know about Marcus Thompson. Tae-young read in silence, expression unchanging. Then he nodded. This is good work. Thorough. You missed his second phone. He has a burner he uses for the gambling, but otherwise very complete. How do you know about a second phone? I've been researching since you gave me his name last night. He zoomed in on a photo she'd included. This is from Jade's Instagram? 2 years ago, before he made her delete all her social media. Classic isolation tactic. Tae-young's voice was clinical. He's escalating. The patterns suggest he'll get physical again within the next 2 weeks. Probably after his next gambling loss. Kemi's chest tightened. You can tell that from a file? I can tell that from 15 years of studying human behavior. He set the phone down. I've seen hundreds of men like Marcus Thompson. They follow the same script, and they rarely stop until someone stops them. The police should stop him. But they won't, because the system is designed to wait until something catastrophic happens before it intervenes. Tae-young's eyes met hers. That's where people like me come in. We don't wait. It should have sounded sinister. Instead, it sounded almost righteous. When? Kemi asked. Saturday. He has a poker game scheduled. Based on his pattern, he'll lose. He'll drink. He'll drive to Jade's apartment building to talk. Tae-young's tone made it clear what talk meant. He won't make it. How? Car accident, drunk driving. Tragic but not suspicious. He has 3 DUIs already. Tae-young sipped his coffee. No one will question it, least of all the police who ignored Jade's complaints. Kemi should have felt horrified. Instead, she felt relieved. What do I do until then? Nothing. Go to work. See your friends. Live normally. He smiled, slightly. And maybe stay off the dark web. That's it? I just wait? You wait. I work. Tae-young signaled for the check. Saturday night, Marcus Thompson dies. Sunday morning, you wake up knowing your best friend is safe. And we never speak of this again. It sounded too easy. What about payment? Kemi asked. We'll discuss that after the job is complete. He stood. For now, just trust that I don't leave loose ends. The way he said it should have been threatening, but Kemi found herself trusting him anyway. She went to work, answered emails, sat through meetings, pretended everything was normal, all while knowing that in 3 days a man would die because she'd drunkenly ordered a hitman on the dark web. Friday night, Jade came over for their weekly wine and reality TV night. Kemi had tried to cancel. How could she sit with her best friend knowing what she'd set in motion? But Jade had insisted. I need this, Jade said, already opening the wine. Marcus has been texting. Again. The police say there's nothing they can do unless he violates the restraining order more significantly. More significantly? Kemi's voice was sharp. What does that even mean? Apparently, standing across the street from my building doesn't count. He has to actually approach me. Jade's hands shook as she poured. I'm so tired, Kemi. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. I'm tired of the police acting like I'm overreacting. Kemi hugged her. I know, I'm sorry. Sometimes I wish he would just disappear. Is that awful? To wish someone would just stop existing? No, Kemi said quietly. It's not awful. It's survival. They watched a trashy TV, drank too much wine, laughed at ridiculous drama. All while Kemi's phone sat silent. No messages from Tae-yang, no updates. She tried not to think about tomorrow. Saturday morning, Kemi woke to a text. Unknown number. Everything's on schedule. Don't call or text me today. I'll contact you when it's done. Her hands shook. This was real. This was happening. A man was going to die. She was actually going through with it. She spent the day cleaning her apartment with manic energy, scrubbed counters that were already clean, organized closets that didn't need organizing. Anything to keep her hands busy and her mind from spiraling. At 11 p.m., her phone rang. Unknown number. Kemi answered, heart in her throat. Hello? Turn on the news, Tae-yang said. Channel 5. She grabbed the remote, flipped to the local news. Tragic accident on I-85 tonight. Marcus Thompson, 34, of Atlanta, was killed when his vehicle left the roadway and struck a barrier. Police say alcohol may have been a factor. Thompson had a history of DUI arrests. Kemi's phone slipped from her hand. It was done. Marcus was dead. She should feel guilty, should feel horrified. Instead, she felt nothing. Just numb relief. Her phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. Your best friend is safe now. Get some sleep. Kemi sat in the dark, watching the news repeat the story. Drunk driver. Tragic accident. No other vehicles involved. No one would ever know the truth except her. And the professional killer who just murdered someone on her behalf. Sunday morning, Jade called, sobbing. Did you see the news? Marcus is dead. He's dead, Kemi. I know I should feel bad, but I don't. I just feel relieved. Does that make me a terrible person? No, Kemi said, voice steady. It makes you human. They talked for an hour. Jade cried, laughed, admitted she'd been planning to move out of state because she was so afraid. Now she didn't have to. After they hung up, Kemi stared at her phone. She'd helped kill a man, but her best friend was safe. Was that justice? Or just revenge with better justification? Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to discuss payment. Meet me tonight. Same restaurant. 8 p.m. Kemi's stomach dropped. She'd almost forgotten. The contract, the debt. She showed up at 7:55, stomach in knots. Taeyang was already there, same back booth. He looked relaxed, content. "You did a good thing," he said as she sat down. "Jade is safe. The world is down one abuser. You should feel proud." "I feel like a criminal." "You are a criminal, so am I. The difference is whether our crimes serve justice or ego." He pushed a folder across the table. "Your payment options." Kemi opened it, expecting impossible numbers. Instead, she found a single page. Contract fulfillment, alternative payment plan. Option 1, $50,000 USD, payable in installments over 24 months. Option 2, services rendered, details to be negotiated. She looked up. Services? You're a marketing director at a Fortune 500 company. You understand branding, digital presence, reputation management. Taeyang smiled. "I could use someone with your skills." "You want me to do marketing for a hitman?" "I prefer freelance problem solver." "And yes, my current online presence is functional but outdated. I need someone who understands modern platforms, client acquisition, brand differentiation." He leaned forward. "You help me professionalize my business. I consider your debt paid." Kemi stared at him. "You're insane." "I'm practical. You can't afford $50,000. I can't afford to leave this contract unresolved. This works for both of us." "I'd be helping you kill people." "You already did. Marcus Thompson is dead because you gave me his name." Taeyang's expression didn't change. "The question isn't whether you're willing to help me kill. The question is whether you're willing to help me kill the right people." "There are no right people to kill." "Aren't there?" He pulled out his phone, showed her a file. "This is my current contract. Lee Jin-ho, sole businessman. Runs a trafficking ring specializing in underage girls from Southeast Asia. Has government connections that keep him protected. The client is a father whose 14-year-old daughter disappeared into Jin-ho's network 3 years ago." Kemi's stomach turned. Or this one. Another file. Robert Chen, pharmaceutical executive, knowingly sold contaminated medication that killed 37 people. Settled out of court, admitted no wrongdoing. Currently developing the same medication under a different name. Client is a widow whose husband died from the contamination. He kept going. Files of people who hurt others and faced no consequences. People who bought their way out of justice. "I don't kill for vengeance," Taeyang said quietly. "I kill for balance, for the people who fall through the cracks of a system designed to protect the wealthy and connected." "You're a vigilante." "I'm expensive, but yes." He closed his phone. "So here's the real question, Miss Adeyemi. Do you want to help me find people like Marcus Thompson? Or do you want to go back to your life and pretend this never happened?" Kemi's world tilted. She should walk away, report him, go back to normal. But she thought about Jade, finally sleeping through the night for the first time. In months. She thought about 14-year-old girls trafficked by men rich enough to buy silence. She thought about 37 people dead from contaminated medication and the executive who never faced consequences. "I need time to think," she whispered. "You have until tomorrow." Taeyang stood. "After that, I need an answer. Option 1 or option 2. He left. Kemi sat alone in the restaurant, trying to remember who she'd been a week ago. A marketing director with a broken heart and too much wine. Now she was a woman who'd ordered a murder and watched it happen. Before we continue, I need to know something. Where in this beautiful world are you watching from right now? Drop your city and country in the comments. I want to see how far our love for these chaotic romance stories has spread. Are you team watching from bed at 2 a.m. or team pretending to work while sneakily listening? Let me know. And if you see someone from your city, connect with them. Let's build our little corner of hopeless. Romantics who love dark, unexpected love stories. I'll be reading every single comment. Also, would you take option 1 or option 2? Would you walk away or help him find the right targets? This story is about to get wild, my loves. And now we continue. To see what choice Kemi makes and discovers Tai Young's real job is even darker than she thought. Hit that subscribe button because you're not ready for what's coming. Kemi didn't sleep Sunday night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Option 1. Pay $50,000 she didn't have and never speak to Tai Yang again. Option 2. Help a professional killer find deserving targets and become complicit in more murders. Neither option was acceptable. Both options were inevitable. At 3 a.m., she gave up on sleep and opened her laptop. Started researching Tae Young. An Tae Yang. Korean national, no criminal record, at least not under that name. No social media presence. No digital footprint at all, which was suspicious in itself. She found one article in a Korean news site from 8 years ago. A photograph of a younger Tai Yang at a funeral. The caption identified him as the son of An Jae-sung, a prominent businessman who'd died in a tragic accident. Kemi ran the father's name through translation tools and deeper searches. What she found made her blood run cold. An Jae-sung hadn't been a businessman. He'd been a prosecutor, specializing in organized crime and human trafficking. He'd died in a car explosion, officially ruled accidental, unofficially whispered to be retaliation from one of the crime syndicates he'd been investigating. 3 months later, the head of that syndicate had died, also in a car explosion. Then his second in command, poisoning. Then his accountant, fall from a building. One by one, everyone connected to An Jae-sung's death had died in tragic accidents. And then the deaths had stopped. Kemi stared at her screen, pieces clicking into place. Tae Young hadn't become a hitman for money. He'd become one for revenge. And then he'd kept going. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You're researching me. I'm impressed you found the funeral photo. Most people don't dig that deep. Kemi's heart stopped. He was watching her. Kemi, are you tracking my computer? Unknown number. Your building has terrible Wi-Fi security. I've been monitoring your network since our first meeting. Occupational hazard. I don't trust easily. Kemi, that's illegal. Unknown number. So is conspiracy to commit murder, but here we are. Kemi, your father was a prosecutor. A long pause. Unknown number. Yes. Kemi, you killed the people responsible for his death. Unknown number. Yes. Kemi, and then you just kept killing? Unknown number. I discovered I was good at it, and that there were a lot of people who deserved it. Meet me tomorrow. I'll explain everything. Kemi, I haven't decided yet. Unknown number. Yes, you have. You decided the moment you started researching me instead of calling the police. You're curious, and you're angry at a world that lets people like Marcus Thompson terrorize women with no consequences. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Different location this time. I'll send details. He was right, and Kemi hated it. She had decided. She was going to hear him out. Monday, Kemi went through the motions at work, smiled at colleagues, nodded through meetings, sent emails that sounded professional and normal, all while knowing she had a meeting with a hitman that evening. Jade texted around lunch. Jade, I slept through the night for the first time in months. I forgot what that felt like. Thank you for being there for me this weekend. Kemi stared at the message. Jade was safe, happy, free, because Marcus was dead, because Kemi had made that happen. Kemi, always, love you. At 7:45 p.m., Kemi drove to the address Tae Yang had sent, an upscale apartment building in Midtown. Doorman, marble lobby, the kind of place that costs more per month than most people's mortgages. He'd sent a unit number, 15G. Kemi rode the elevator up, stomach churning. The door to 15G was unlocked. She pushed it open cautiously. The apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlanta skyline, minimalist furniture, expensive art, a grand piano in the corner. Tae-young stood at the window wearing dark slacks and a white button-down, sleeves rolled up. He looked like a CEO, not a killer. "Welcome to my home," he said without turning around. "Sorry for the change in venue. I thought we should talk somewhere more private." "This is yours?" "One of several properties. I maintain residences in 6 cities." He finally turned. "Can I get you something to drink? Wine? Whiskey?" "I have excellent whiskey." "I'm not drinking with you." "Suit yourself." He poured himself 2 fingers of amber liquid. "You found my father's funeral." "I found a lot more than that." "I'm sure you did. You're thorough." He settled onto the couch, gestured for her to sit. "Ask your questions." Kemi remained standing. "How many people have you killed?" 47, not counting the war." "What war?" "I served in the Korean military, special forces. That's where I learned most of my skills." He sipped his drink. "After my father died, I used those skills to even the score. Then I discovered there was a market for my services, and that I enjoyed the work." "Enjoyed killing?" "Enjoyed providing justice when the system failed." He met her eyes. "You think I'm a monster, I understand that. But tell me honestly, do you regret what happened to Marcus Thompson?" Kemi's throat was tight. "No." "Exactly, because he deserved it. He hurt people and faced no consequences. I corrected that imbalance." Tae-young set down his glass. "Most of my contracts are like that. Abusers, traffickers, corrupt officials, people who use money and power to escape justice. I'm very selective about the jobs I accept." "And the people who aren't deserving? What about them?" "I turn down those contracts, refer them to competitors who are less discriminating." He smiled slightly. "I have a reputation in certain circles. If you want someone killed for a good reason, you hire me. If you just want someone dead, you hire someone else." "That's how you justify it?" "I don't need to justify it. I've made peace with what I am." He leaned forward. "The question is whether you can make peace with what you've already become." "I'm not a killer." "You ordered a hit, provided intelligence, waited while I executed the target. You're absolutely a killer. You just outsourced the actual violence." Tae-young's voice was matter-of-fact, not cruel. "The only difference between us is that I've accepted it. You're still pretending you're innocent." Kemi's hands shook. "I was drunk. It was a mistake." "Was Marcus Thompson a mistake? Was making Jade safe a mistake?" He stood, walked toward her. "You can walk away, Kemi. Pay me the money, never see me again. But we both know you won't, because you've seen what I can do, and you're thinking about all the other Marcus Thompsons in the world." He was right. God help her, he was right. "What would I actually do?" she asked quietly. "If I chose option 2? Research, what you're already good at." Tae-young pulled out a tablet, opened files. "I receive dozens of contract requests every month. Most are garbage, revenge killings, corporate sabotage, jealous spouses. I need someone to help me vet them, find the ones that actually serve justice." He showed her examples. A request to kill a judge. Initially looked like corruption. Deeper research revealed the judge had ruled against a trafficking ring, and the contract came from the traffickers seeking revenge. Declined. A request to kill a teacher. Looked petty. Research showed the teacher was sexually abusing students, and the local school board was covering it up. The client was a parent whose daughter had attempted suicide. Accepted. A request to kill a business partner. Looked like greed. Research revealed the partner was embezzling from a charity for terminal children. The client was the charity founder who discovered the theft. Accepted. You see the pattern? Tai Young asked. Every contract has a story. I need someone who can investigate those stories, separate the legitimate grievances from the petty ones. And then what? You just kill people? I restore balance. He closed the tablet. The legal system is designed to protect property and power. It fails the vulnerable constantly. I fill that gap. You're not Batman. You're a criminal. Batman is also a criminal. He just has better PR. Tai Young smiled. I'm offering you a chance to use your skills for something that matters. To help people like Jade who fall through the cracks. By helping you commit murder. By helping me commit justice. Kemi wanted to argue, wanted to explain why this was wrong, illegal, insane, but she kept thinking about Jade sleeping peacefully, about 14-year-old girls trafficked by untouchable businessmen, about 37 people dead from contaminated medication. I need to think, she said. You have until Wednesday. That's when I leave for Seoul. I have a contract there. If you're in, you come with me. If you're out, you start making payments on the $50,000. He walked to the door, opened it. Either way, decide soon. I don't like loose ends. Kemi spent Tuesday in a fog. She tried to focus on work, failed. Tried to talk herself out of this insanity. Failed. By evening, she'd made a list. Reasons to say no. It's murder. It's illegal. I could go to prison. It's morally wrong. I'm not a killer. This will destroy my life. Reasons to say yes. Jade is safe. Other Jades could be safe. The system doesn't work. Bad people face no consequences. I'm already complicit. I'm good at research. The second list was shorter, but it felt heavier. At 11 p.m., Jade called. I have a date, she said, and Kemi could hear the smile. An actual date, with a guy from work. I haven't been on a date in 3 years because Marcus made me too afraid. But he's gone now. I'm free. Kemi closed her eyes. I'm so happy for you. I know it sounds crazy to be happy about someone dying, but Kemi, I feel like I can breathe. Like my life is my own again. Jade's voice cracked. Is that awful? No, it's human. After they hung up, Kemi stared at her list. Then she picked up her phone. Kemi, I'm in. What time is the flight to Seoul? The response was immediate. Unknown number. Wednesday, 6 p.m. I'll send the details. Welcome to the team, Kemi. She should have felt horrified. Instead, she felt purposeful. Like for the first time in her life, she was doing something that actually mattered, even if that something was helping a professional killer find targets. Wednesday afternoon, Kemi told her boss she had a family emergency in New York, would need to work remotely for a few days. She'd never been a good liar, but apparently conspiracy to commit murder was excellent motivation for improving that skill. The ticket Tai Young sent was first class. She'd never flown first class in her life. He was already at the gate when she arrived, looking annoyingly composed in dark jeans and a leather jacket. You came, he said. I said I would. People say a lot of things. Following through is different. He handed her a coffee. Black, 2 sugars. Same as you ordered at the restaurant. He'd remembered. Of course he had. On the plane, Tai Yang pulled out his tablet. We have 14 hours. I'll teach you the basics. He showed her how he vetted contracts, the databases he accessed, the background check protocols, the red flags that indicated a request was revenge rather than justice. Kemi absorbed it all, her marketing brain translating his process into systems and workflows. You're good at this, Tai Yang observed after several hours. I'm good at research. This is just darker research. The darkest. He pulled up a new file. This is the Seoul contract. Kim Sang-woo. Real. Estate developer. Demolishes historic neighborhoods. Displaces poor families. Bribes officials to ignore regulations. The client is a community organizer whose neighborhood was destroyed. 60 families lost their homes. Kemi read through the file, saw the photos of demolished buildings, families living in temporary shelters. Kim Song-woo smiling at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for luxury condos built on the ruins. He's already gotten away with it, she said. He's gotten away with it 6 times. Different neighborhoods, same pattern. The government protects him because he donates to campaigns. Tai Young's voice was flat. This will be his last project. When? Friday night. He has a dinner meeting with investors. He won't make it home. Kemi should have protested, should have tried to stop this. Instead, she asked, "What do you need from me?" Confirm everything in the file. Make sure the client is legitimate, not a competing developer trying to eliminate competition. Make sure Kim Sang-woo is actually guilty, not being framed. He met her eyes. I need to know this kill is righteous. That's your job now. Righteous murder. The phrase should have been an oxymoron, but Kemi found herself nodding. For the rest of the flight, she researched Kim Sang-woo, found city records of violations ignored, news articles about displaced families, community petitions that went nowhere, and a pattern. Every neighborhood Kim demolished had been home to poor immigrant families. People with no political power, no way to fight back. By the time they landed in Seoul, Kemi had compiled a comprehensive file. He's guilty, she told Tae-young as they cleared customs. Everything checks out. The client is legitimate. Kim Sung-woo deserves this. Tae-young smiled. Good work. Welcome to your first day. Seoul was overwhelming. Kemi had never been to Korea. The signs in Hangul, the rapid-fire Korean conversations, the sheer density of the city. It was sensory overload. Tae-young navigated, it all effortlessly. He'd booked them into a luxury hotel, separate rooms connected by a door. Get some sleep, he said. Tomorrow I'll show you how the actual work happens. Kemi tried to sleep. Jet lag and adrenaline had other ideas. At 3 a.m. she heard movement from Tae-young's room. The connecting door was unlocked. She found him at his laptop, dressed in all black, weapons laid out on the desk. Can't sleep either, he asked without looking up. I've never been in the same building as someone planning a murder. You'll get used to it. He continued typing. I'm finalizing the route. Kim Sang-woo's dinner ends at 10 p.m. He'll take the same route home he always does. Predictable. I'll intercept at the 3rd traffic light. How? Motorcycle accident. Quick. Clean. He'll be dead before the ambulance arrives. Tae-young finally looked at her. Do you want to watch? Kemi's stomach dropped. What? Not the actual kill, but the surveillance. I set up cameras at the intersection. You can monitor from here. See how it works. His expression was unreadable. It's important you understand what you're participating in. This isn't abstract, it's real. I know it's real. Knowing and seeing are different. He pulled up a camera feed on his screen. Tomorrow night, you'll watch a man die because of research you confirmed. If you can't handle that, tell me now. Kemi wanted to say she couldn't handle it, wanted to run, but she thought about 60 families losing their homes. I'll watch, she said. Friday night arrived too quickly. Tae-young was somewhere in Seoul. She didn't know exactly where, just that at 10:15 p.m. Kim Song-woo would die. At 10:10, her screen showed Kim leaving the restaurant. Laughing, drunk. He climbed into his luxury sedan, waved away his driver, apparently too drunk to care about safety. Tae-young's voice came through her headset. Target is mobile, approaching the intersection. Kemi's hands shook. You can close the laptop, Tae-young said. Quietly. You don't have to watch. She didn't close it. On screen, Kim's car approached the intersection. The light turned red. He stopped. A motorcycle pulled up alongside. The rider wore a black helmet, face invisible. The light turned green. Kim's car accelerated. The motorcycle swerved, clipped Kim's front tire. The car spun, slammed into a traffic pole. The motorcycle disappeared into traffic. Kim's car crumpled. Airbag deployed, but from the angle, the way his head hung. "It's done," Tae-young said. "He's dead." Kemi stared at the screen. Emergency vehicles were already arriving. Pedestrians gathering. A man was dead, and she'd helped. 20 minutes later, Tae-young returned to the hotel. Calm, composed. Like he'd just come back from dinner, not from killing someone. "How do you feel?" he asked. Kemi didn't know. Numb, horrified, relieved. 60 families can go home, she finally said. "Eventually. The legal battles will take time, but yes." He poured himself whiskey. "You did well tonight. Most people vomit after their first one." "I might still vomit." "That's fair." He sat across from her. "This is what the work is, Kemi. Research, planning, execution, aftermath. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's just necessary." "How do you sleep at night?" "Very well, because I know the people I kill deserve it." He sipped his drink. "The question is whether you can sleep, because if you can't, this won't work." Kemi thought about Jade. About 60 families. About 14-year-old trafficking victims. "I'll manage," she said. They stayed in Seoul for 3 more days. Tae-young showed her the city. Took her to markets, temples, restaurants. Like they were tourists, not killer and accomplice. He was surprisingly good company. Funny, smart, surprisingly well-read. "You're not what I expected," Kemi admitted over dinner their last night. "What did you expect?" "Someone colder, more psychopathic." "I'm very good at compartmentalizing, but I'm not a psychopath. I feel things. I just choose which things deserve my emotional energy." He met her eyes. "Does that scare you?" "Everything about you scares me." "Good. Fear keeps you careful." He poured more soju. "We work well together. Your research is excellent. You have good instincts about people." "I helped you kill someone." "You helped me stop someone who was destroying lives with no consequences. There's a difference." Kemi wanted to argue, but she was too tired and too drunk, and maybe starting to believe him. Back in Atlanta, Kemi slipped back into her normal life. Went to work, saw friends, pretended nothing had changed. But 3 nights a week she met Tae-young, vetted contracts, researched targets, helped him decide who deserved to die. It became routine, almost normal, until the night he showed her a contract that made her blood run cold. "Carter Williams," Tae-young said, pulling up the file. "Your ex-boyfriend. Someone submitted a new contract on him 2 days ago." Kemi's heart stopped. "Who?" "That's what I need you to find out." He showed her the request details. The client is anonymous, paid premium for privacy, but the reason given is fraud, emotional manipulation, and destruction of multiple women's lives. "Carter's an asshole, but he's not a criminal." "Are you sure?" Tae-young pulled up more files. "I did some digging. He's been engaged 4 times in the past 6 years. 4 of those years he was with you, to 4 different women. Each time he got them to invest in his business ventures. Each time the business failed. Each time he left with their money." Kemi stared at the evidence. Bank transfers, investment documents, screenshots of messages. Carter was running a long con. Finding successful women, making them fall in love, convincing them to invest, then disappearing with their money. "Sienna is the latest," Tae-young said. "She liquidated her retirement account to fund his startup. $200,000. He'll be gone within 6 months." Kemi felt sick. "I didn't know." "You weren't supposed to. He's very good at this." Tae-young closed the files. "The contract is legitimate. He deserves it. But I'm not taking the job." "Why not?" "Conflict of interest. He's your ex. If I kill him, you'll always wonder if I did it for the client or for you." He met her eyes. "I need you to make the call. Accept or decline." Kemi thought about Sienna, about the 3 other women Carter had destroyed, about the 4 years she'd wasted on him. Except, she said. Tae-young smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. Carter Williams died 3 weeks later. Allergic reaction, shellfish, tragic. No one suspected foul play. Sienna got her money back. Anonymous transferred the other 3 women too. Kemi went to the funeral, watched Sienna cry over a man who'd been planning to rob her blind. She should have felt guilty. She felt satisfied. Afterward, Tae-young took her to dinner. How do you feel? He asked, like I finally got closure. Good. He raised his glass to justice, even when the system fails. Kemi clinked her glass against his. 6 months later, Kemi had a new normal. Marketing director by day, contract vetter by night. She'd helped Tae-young complete 17 jobs. Stopped him from accepting 9. Saved countless lives by identifying the people who deserved consequences. And somewhere along the way, she'd stopped feeling guilty. Started feeling righteous. I have something to tell you, Tae-young said one night. They were at his apartment. This had become routine too. Working together, drinking expensive whiskey, pretending this was normal. What? Kemi asked. The original contract, the one you submitted drunk on the dark web. He pulled up her original order form. It wasn't random that I accepted it. Kemi's blood chilled. What do you mean? I'd been watching you for 3 months before you submitted that request. Ever since Jade first reported Marcus to the police and they did nothing. Tae-young's expression was apologetic. I was planning to kill Marcus anyway. Free of charge. Community service. You were stalking me? I was monitoring a potential threat. Then you submitted that drunk contract and I saw an opportunity to recruit you, to bring someone with your skills into the organization. He met her eyes. I'm sorry I wasn't honest, but I'm not sorry it happened. Kemi should have been furious, should have felt manipulated. Instead, she laughed. You orchestrated this entire thing? I created an opportunity. You made your own choices. He stood, walked toward her. And you've been extraordinary. Better than I imagined. You've saved lives, Kemi. Stopped me from making mistakes. Helped deliver justice to people who had nowhere else to turn. You used me. I gave you purpose. He cupped her face. Tell me honestly, are you happier now than you were 6 months ago? Kemi thought about it. 6 months ago, she'd been heartbroken, drinking too much, feeling powerless. Now she was powerful, purposeful, making a difference. Yes, she admitted. Then does it matter how we started? He smiled. We're partners now, equals. You make the final call on every contract. I trust your judgment completely. You manipulated me into becoming a criminal. I showed you what you were already capable of. He kissed her forehead. You ordered a hit while drunk. I just made sure it counted. Kemi should have walked away. Instead, she kissed him, because he was right. She'd made her choices, and she'd make them again. 1 year later, Kemi Adeyemi was still a marketing director at a Fortune 500 company. Still had brunch with Jade every Sunday. Still lived in the same Atlanta apartment. But 3 nights a week, she disappeared into a different life. Vetting contracts, researching targets, helping Tae-young deliver justice to people the system failed. They'd completed 43 jobs together, stopped 26 undeserving kills, saved hundreds of lives, and fallen in love somewhere, between Seoul and Atlanta. I have a new contract, Tae-young said, pulling her against him on the couch. You're going to hate it. Tell me. It's a politician, Senator Hayes. The client is a former staffer he sexually assaulted. She reported it, got fired. He's running for president. Kemi pulled up her laptop. Send me the file. This was her life now. Dangerous, illegal, morally complicated, but purposeful, and she wouldn't change it for anything. I love you, Tae-young said, kissing her neck. I love you too. Kemi opened the research files. Now let me work. This senator isn't going to vet himself. Outside, Atlanta glittered. Normal people living normal lives. Inside, a marketing director and a professional killer built their own version of justice. One carefully vetted murder at a time. So tell me, my loves, would you take option 2? Would you help vet contracts for a hitman if you knew the targets deserved it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This story went dark and I'm not apologizing. Sometimes justice doesn't come from the courts. Sometimes it comes from drunk decisions and Korean hitmen with excellent taste in whiskey. Hit subscribe for more morally complicated dark romance. And remember, be careful what you order on the dark web. You might just get exactly what you asked for. Until next time, my loves, stay dangerous.